Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lilu nishmasi mimirasi rus bas Mordechai. Today, we have a number of sponsors, and we have an unbelievable guest speaker. And after we have the guest speaker, we have one of the shortest dapim in Daf Yomi shas, followed whoever wants for the halachas that are negea this year when Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbos. Sponsored by Loren Spigelman, in honor of and with thanks to Eli and the MDY team for leading me and all of us to our fourth suyuim in this Daf Yomi cycle, and for uniting Klal Yisroel מארבע כנפות הארץ in limud Torah. Eli, as you always say, we come from all walks of life, but what we all have in common is limud Torah. Yisrael ואורייתא וקודשא בריך chadhu. May we all be zoche to see the קיבוץ גליות and finish shas together here in Eretz Yisroel. Best wishes to everyone in the MDY family for a chag kosher ושמח. Beautiful, Loren, beautiful. Shkoyach. Sponsored by Fishel. Refuah shelayma for Breinna bas Yenta Devorah, the matriarch of our family. She should have Refuah shelayma. Lrefua shelayma Zerach ben Devorah, a healthy 17-year-old boy, suddenly rushed to the hospital in serious condition, not COVID. Refuah shelayma. And Liili nishmas mirenu, Harav Agoyin, Harav Meir Scheinberg, Harav Meir ben Harav Shmuel, Zechroino livracha. Rabbi Sai, today was the vart of my son, the Bechor. He was engaged to Malka Kapelovich, and it was a beautiful simcha. Yishkoyach to Uncle Phil for the gifts that you sent. Yishkoyach for the whole MDY family, the New York family who sent in a gorgeous, beautiful, gigantic tray of chocolate. Yishkoyach. Yishkoyach to Stephen Sokola, who drove his wife and his 3 children all the way from South Bend, Indiana, to come be mesameach. I appreciate it. And all those who came from near and far. Yishar Koyach. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. So, as I promised yesterday, one of the biggest nisim gluyim that I've seen in my life, I want to play for you, first of all, okay, we'll start from this. Brachas Daf Nun Gimel, and it's on, if you have the 8-minute Daf app, it's in the classics. It's called The Golden Dove. I'm just going to play a very small part of it so you see what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to make this as loud as possible. Yosef is probably going to have to patch it in somehow. And here goes. You get out of bed, you get dressed, you get in your car, and you go to shul. And as you're going to shul, you trip over a golden dove. Has it ever happened to anybody? It's happened to me. And I want to tell you, Rabbi Sai, it's happened to every single one of us. Because, we're raising money for our neighbor that lives literally 10 feet away from here. He hasn't had children for over 20 years. We're building a mikveh for his chus. When we have a child, or in my case, a grandchild, that's our golden dove. When we do a good business deal, we flip the house and make some money. So Rabbi Sai, my very close friend, a neighbor of mine, who I've dealt with, and I heard his story, and we would talk a lot, and I made phone calls for him, and did certain things for him, to get another treatment, and another, whatever it was. For 21 years he struggled and struggled. I mean, if you just close your eyes for 5 seconds and think about what it means to struggle. People after a year of being married and not having children, they run to the doctors. 21 years, it's not fathomable. And he didn't give up. And he went to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and Reb Chaim Kanievsky told him, if you build a mikveh, you will have a child. After 21 years, and people said, and people donated money, and he built a mikveh. And the story is so incredible and so real, because I was there when he built the mikveh. I remember the day he inaugurated the mikveh. And that's the day that basically his wife became pregnant. His wife gave birth 9 months later, this past Shabbos. I see Rabbi Yaakov Schoenberg is sitting and watching. He's his next door neighbor. Noam Fix, next door neighbor. We're all his neighbors. Everybody that lives, he lives 10 feet away from MDY. He davens in MDY. As a matter of fact, he named his daughter, I have no idea what her name is. He named his daughter this morning in MDY.
הוא ירפא את האישה, הוא יבורך את האישה ילדס, אפרת שירה, בת שמואל, והסביתה שנדע מזלתו, בעיקר שמה בישראל, רבקה. בעבור שבא לנו את הכבד, ובזכר זה יזכו אביו ואימא ולגד, ולתור ולחופ ולמייסים טובים, ויזכו לעשרה גם כל ישראל אחרינו, ונאמר אמן.
All right, the emotion is unbelievable. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to the Baal Simcha himself, Itzik Khoury. By the way, Itzik! Mazal Tov, Itzik! לא אמרתי לך מזל טוב, מזל טוב. All right, take it away, Itzik.
Good morning, Raboisai. אוקיי, שמי איציק חורי. אנחנו נשואים 21.5 שנים, חיכינו לילדים, ולפני שנה היה מקרה אצלנו בשכונה של יהודי בעל חסד שנפטר, ועשו קמפיין להתרים בשביל המשפחה שלו. ביקשו ממני לדבר שם, אז סיפרתי שאנחנו 20 שנה, סיפרתי שם, מה אומר?
מה אומר?
Try to translate more often.
Translate. He's saying, I've married for 21 and a half years. There was a story about a year ago of somebody, somebody passed away in the neighborhood, and they asked me to speak. איפה בלוויה? בשבעה?
לא, נפטר. לא, ועשו קמפיין, עשו סרט.
They made a campaign and they made a movie, and they asked me to speak on the movie.
ושם ביקשו ממני לדבר שם, ושם סיפרתי על זה שאנחנו 20 שנה בלי ילדים, ואותו יהודי עזר לי הרבה בכספים, כמו שאתם יודעים זה עשרות אלפי שקלים, כל הטיפולים וכל קיצור, דיברתי שם וזו פעם ראשונה שבכיתי, ואחרי 20 שנה זו פעם ראשונה שבכיתי. הרבה ראו את הסרטון.
When I spoke, this was somebody that helped me a lot financially. You know, the treatments are very expensive, and he's helped me out. It's the first time in 20 years that I cried publicly about the situation and about what was going on when they made this video about him. So I spoke about my situation and I started crying.
ואז חבר בכולל הראה את הסרטון הזה למנכ"ל של מרכז התרת המשפחה כדי להתרים אותו בשביל המשפחה.
A friend of mine showed this movie, this little clip, to the mankal, the head, the CEO of an organization called Tarat HaMishpacha, to try to get some finances from him for this friend.
ואז אותו מנכ"ל הראה לו סרטון אחר ששם היה זוג שלא היה להם ילדים והם תרמו לבור של מקווה, ואחרי זה רואים שם תאומות, נולדו להם תאומות.
That mankal in return showed another video back of a couple that didn't have kids for a very, very long time. They made a truma to a mikvah, and then they show in the video 9 months later or sometime later twin girls.
אז אותו חבר אמר לי, אנחנו נלך בעזרת השם לרב חיים, ונשאל אותו אם אנחנו עושים את זה גם פה, אצלי, ואם כן, אז אנחנו פשוט נבנה גם אנחנו מקווה, כדי שזה יהיה לישועתי.
My friend said to me, we're going to go to Reb Chaim and we're going to ask him if we should do the same thing. Should we build a mikvah, and that should be maybe my Yeshua as well.
בח' חשוון תש"פ, זה בדיוק היה יום יום הולדת שלי, היינו אצל רב חיים, הוא שאל אותו, רב חיים שמע ואמר זו העצה. העצה היא לבנות מקווה במקום שאין מקווה מהודר או שאין מקווה בכלל, לזכותנו, שזה מידה כנגד מידה, הוא אמר, וזה יהיה זכות לפריה ורבייה.
I went with my friend to Reb Chaim on my birthday. We asked him if this is what we should do, and he said, Zu ha'etzah, that's the eitzah to do, to build a mikvah in a place where there is no mikvah, and that's going to be a schus for us, and with that, we'll see a Yeshua.
ואז יצאנו לקמפיין של התרמה, דיברנו עם המרכז לתורת המשפחה, הם הציעו לנו מקווה במושב זוהר, זה מושב בדרום של מסורתיים, שהיה שם מקווה בצורה ירודה מאוד, והעלות של השיפוץ היה 640,000 שקל, ופשוט יצאנו בקמפיין להתגייס בשביל זה כדי להרים את הפרויקט הזה.
We spoke to the CEO of Taharat HaMishpacha. He suggested a place in Zohar, which is a place in the south. They had a very, very weak mikveh over there. The cost of the mikveh was about 640,000 shekel, approximately $150,000 to $200,000. And we just started a campaign to raise the funds so we can rebuild the mikveh over there.
ואז בסייעתא דשמיא מופלאה, הצלחנו לגייס את הכסף, ובי"ד תמוז תש"פ, חנכנו את המקווה.
We raised the money. Yudalet Tammuz Tavshin Pei. We were able to raise all of the money to build the mikveh. Huh? To dedicate the mikveh. Inaugurate the mikveh.
וברוך השם, השבת פרשת ויקרא, ממש כמעט לצד שבת, 5:55, נולדה לנו בת, אם תעשו את החשבון, פלוס מינוס 9 חודשים. 9 חודשים כמעט מחנוכת המקווה, נולד לנו בת, אחרי 21.5 שנים.
If you do the math, comes out to about 9 months later after the Chanukah mikveh. About 9 months later, we had a baby girl.
מה שאני רוצה לומר זה שני דברים. א' כל, אני חשבתי שעשיתי טובה לבן אדם אחר, למשפחה, לחבר, שעשינו קמפיין בשבילו ודיברתי אז, ובסופו של דבר התברר שהטובה הזאת היא בשבילי, כי מישהו שראה את הסרט הזה, הוא ביקש, הוא יראה את הסרט ההוא של המקווה. זה תובנה אחת.
Two messages that I want to send out. The first message is I thought I was doing a tova for my friend, speaking on the video to raise money for him and his family. Turns out that was the Yeshua and the chesed that was done for me.
דבר שני זה כוח התורה של רב חיים כנפסקי, זה פשוט מדהים. היהודי הזה מה יש לו? סך הכל יושב, הוא סך הכל, כן? אבל הוא יושב לומד שנים רבות בהתמדה, לומד תורה, וכל מה שהוא מוציא מהפה שלו זה קודש קודשים. כל מה שהוא מוציא מהפה שלו זה מתקיים. זה פשוט דבר מדהים, זה כוח התורה. ובאמת מה שאני רוצה לומר, אתם לומדים, כולם לומדים דף היומי, עם מגיד שיעור שפשוט לקח את הכל בתור עסק, לעסק התורה, שזה כוח אדיר. וזה לא רק שהוא פשוט לקח את הכל בשביל זה הביזנס שלו. הביזנס שלו זה ללמוד תורה, ובאמת אחד מהסגולות שעשינו זה גם, אני פתחתי גם כולל של דף היומי, יש היום כמעט 30 אברכים. זה כוח אדיר, זה משהו מופלא. וחוץ מזה,
The second thing is just the koach Torah of Reb Chaim. What does Reb Chaim have already? He sits and he learns, and you see that his word is kadosh, whatever he says, and that's what happens. And a similar thing is what we're doing over here, is sitting and learning, and Reb Eli is taking on this project, and he turned it into a business called the Business of Torah. And that's what we do, sit and learn Daf Yomi. I also have a kollel that I opened up of 30 avreichim, and we sit and we learn, and the koach of Torah and the koach of somebody that sits and learns is a tremendous skula.
והמגיד שיעור שלכם הוא גם אדם בעל חסד, זה לא רק התורה. אני לפני, אני לא יודע בדיוק את הזמן, לא זוכר את הזמן שהיה, אבל התפללנו ביחד שחרית, והוא ראה אותי, כנראה הייתי בפרצוף אולי קצת מצב רוח ירוד, ואז ערב שבת הוא בא, דופק ומביא מתנה לשבת, ויש שם פתק, ושמרתי את זה.
Rebelli a while ago, didn't just take on Torah as learning, but he's also a big Baal Chesed. A few months ago, he saw me, and I looked pretty down, and I get a knock on my door, Erev Shabbos, and he sends me a gift with the following note.
וכתוב ככה, לכבוד חברי היקר איציק ואשתו היקרים.
To my dear friend Yitzhak and his wife.
ראיתי אותך הבוקר, והזכרת לי כמה חיזוק אתה נותן לי יום יום.
I saw you this morning, and I saw how much chizuk you give me every single day.
תמיד חיוך, אפילו במצבים שלא מגיע לחייך.
Always a smile, even in times where you're not supposed to be smiling.
השם אוהב אתכם. תודה על החיזוק. חברכם אלי, שבת שלום.
Hashem loves you. Thank you for the chizuk. Your dear friend Eli. Good Shabbos.
אז אני אומר, יש גם תורה, גם חסד, ובאמת, כולם צריכים להעריך את מה שיש לנו, שהקדוש ברוך הוא נתן לנו, את רב חיים קניבסקי, גדול הדור, ואת התורה הקדושה שאנחנו לומדים אותה, ואת המגיד שיעור הזה, שאני פגשתי אותו בשבת בקידוש לפני, לא זוכר, כבר זה היה חודשיים או חודש וחצי, ובישרתי לו, וזה היה בשבת, והוא פשוט בכה, בשבת עצמה. זה הלב שלו איתנו.
We have to appreciate what we have. We have Reb Chaim, the Gadol Ador, who's guiding us. We have friends, and we have Magidei Shir like Rebelli. Saw me a month and a half ago, and I told him the news on Shabbos, and he just basically burst out crying. We have to appreciate the people that we have around us and what we have around us and who's guiding us. There are no words.
רציתי לומר תודה רבה לכולם, לכל מי שעזר, לכל מי שתמך. אני מרגיש את הלב של עם ישראל, אין כמו העם הזה, וזה פשוט מדהים בכל המקומות, בכל העולם. בשורות טובות לכולם.
I want to thank everybody for all of their efforts and help.
וואו. תודה רבה איציק, תודה רבה. רגע, לפני שאתה הולך, איציק, לפני שאתה הולך, דבר אחד, אולי תשתף אותנו בשנים האלה. סתם, אני לא יודע אם אתה יכול, אם אתה רוצה, בכל השנים האלה, בכל הקושי שהיה לך, איך התמודדת עם זה? עם תפילות, עם בכי, איך התמודדת? כי זה לא מובן מאליו איך בן אדם עובר כזה תקופה, כל כך ארוכה של 21 שנה.
Eli, translate the question.
You could, that's okay. You just translate the answer. If there is one.
איך התמודדתי, לא יודע. הקדוש ברוך הוא נותן לנו כוחות, אבל זה באמת ניסיון, לא יודע, אחד הקשים, לא מתחרה בניסיונות אחרים, אבל זה פשוט המון זמן. זה ניסיון ארוך עם המון זמן, ועושים השתדלויות, וזה עוד פעם אכזבה ועוד פעם אכזבה. האמת היא, פעם ראשונה שבכיתי, זה היה אחרי 20 שנה, זה כל הזמן אמרו לי, תפקד, תשחרר, וזה לא היה. וזה פעם ראשונה שזה קרה, וזה השתחרר אז, והרבה אנשים התרגשו מזה, והתחברו, ותרמו אז לאותה משפחה. זה התמודדות לא פשוטה, זה להיות במורדות כל הזמן, זה תפילות. אני הייתי בקבר רחל 2.5, יום, אז כל ספר תהילים על הרגליים, נסעתי, וברוך השם, בסוף זה קרה.
Wow. Last translation, just finish that up.
He's saying, I don't know how I was able. It's 20 years of ups and downs and constant disappointments and back and forths, but a lot of tfilos. 2.5 years I was in Kever Rachel. People kept telling me, let it go, cry, let it out, and I couldn't. It didn't come. I just didn't cry until that first time I cried on the video. It was the first time I cried, and people maybe connected to that as well. And it's a lot of ups and downs and a lot of tfilos and a lot of davening, and here you are. At the end, you see that. And a lot of davening, and Here it is.
Unbelievable. All right, תודה רבה איציק. תודה רבה.
תודה רבה.
ומזל טוב.
תודה רבה, פסח כשר ושמח. תודה רבה.
מעשים טובים. All right, thank you איציק. All right, Rabbi Sai. We only have 20 minutes left for the daf, and I wanted to give in some halachas here. We're holding daf Kuf Chof Amud Beis by Omar Rava. Omar Rava, by the way, I must say, tomorrow night in New York, I hope to get a ticket, because the ticket I got was the wrong month. Rabbi Sai. This is what happens when you buy tickets at 1 o'clock in the morning. The suyuim is in New York at 8 o'clock. I will be there. If I have to drive there, I will be there. 8 o'clock. It's going to be transmitted live on YouTube and on Zoom. Be there in person or be there on the media. We'll see you there. Omar Rava. Today we don't have a Korban Pesach. Last year. This year we will have. But typically, up until now, we didn't have a Korban Pesach and you ate matzah after Chatzos. Now we just had a machlokes. When could you eat the Korban Pesach till? Elazar ben Azariah says until Chatzos. Rabbi Kiva says until Alois. So today, the matzah, which we eat instead of the Pesach, it's after Chatzos. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says Pesach comes before Chatzos, and after Chatzos doesn't count. So matzah also. Why? Because the pasuk says al matzah sumroyim yachlu. The matzah is connected with the Pesach. So we don't have Pesach, but the matzah has to go at the same time as Pesach. Pshita, what's the big chiddush? Says the Gemara. Let's just do this bal peh, a second. We had this yesterday. Shivas yomim toichal matzos. That's pasuk number 1. You eat matzah for 7 days. What does the other pasuk? And this is in Shmois, Parashas Boy, Perek Gimel, pasuk Vav. Shivas yomim. In Dvarim it says Sheishes yomim toichal matzos. What is going on? So that was the question we had yesterday. Dvarim, Perek, Tezayin, pasuk Ches. Is it 6 days or 7 days? This comes to teach us on the 7 days that it's a reshus. You don't have to eat matzah if you don't want to. If you want to be on a diet, you don't like carbs, you don't have to eat matzah. Oh, maybe you don't have to eat matzah at Leila Seder. For that we have Be'erev Toichlu Matzos. You mechuyev to eat one time at Leila Seder. Or in America, 2 Leilis Dar. So, says the Gemara, Kivin this Kash Lepezah Vesadam. Mal the same. Ha'abki Krome Kesha. The Torah took it out and said, Sheishes Yamim Toichal. So you don't have to eat matzah. There's no chiyuv to eat matzah. So before Chatzos, after Chatzos, there's no chiyuv. When the Torah comes and says, Be'erev Toichlu Matzos, and the Torah reinstates it and says you mechuyev to eat matzah, so you have to eat matzah like when there is a Korban Pesach. When there's a Korban Pesach, it's up until Chatzos according to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. So to matzah has to be until Chatzos. Now, there's a fascinating Avnei Nezer, real quickly. He has a chap. According to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, you can only eat matzah until Chatzos. Now let me ask you something. The whole sugya is about having the taste of the matzah in your mouth. So you can't wash it down with dessert. But when? When could you eat dessert? You can't eat dessert for 3 days. You can't eat dessert till the morning, till the afternoon, till when? When you wake up? Unbelievable. You cannot eat dessert until the time of the matzah. In other words, the matzah is chatzos. So a minute after chatzos, you can eat dessert. Says the Avnei Nezer, I have a great idea. Let's say you look at the clock and you see that it's almost chatzos. You didn't do anything. You didn't eat yet. What do? Says Avnei Nezer, these are tears of simcha. You take a kezayis matzah and you say, if the halach is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, I'm eating the matzah now. So you eat the kezayis, you eat the afikoyman. And then you wait till chatzos. Once chatzos comes, you're allowed to eat dessert. So you eat your whole meal after chatzos. You eat an entire meal, And then when you're done with your meal, you eat another kazayis and say, in case the halach is like Rebbe Kiva, I'm eating my kazayis of afikoyim after the meal. A lot of G'daylim like this idea, including the Brisker Rav. He said it's a great idea. I think it was the Minchas Yitzchok says, I don't like the idea so much because Rebbe Kiva himself holds that it's not kedai to go to alois. You should go like Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah to chatzois lechatchila. Okay, but this is zah chapazah. Says the Gemara, it says in the Mishnah, Pigol v'anoisim etamis yadayim. If somebody thinks a machshava as he's doing one of the 4 avodas, shchita, kabbalah, hilachin, zrika, during those 4 avodas, he thinks in his head that he's going to eat. The kohen thinks he's going to eat this animal after it's allotted time. Say you're allowed to eat a shlamim for 2 days and a night. He thinks he's going to eat it in 3 days from now. That makes it pigol. If it's pigol, you touch it, your hands become tummy. Noisar also, leftover meat, your hands become tummy. Ravuna v'Rav Chizda machloik is between the two. And we had this in our Masechta. Chadoma mishum chash dekuna, v'chadoma mishum atz dekuna. The concern is if a kohen wants to get a Yisrael real good, now this animal costs $1,000, a sheep $500, whatever it costs. So the kohen could destroy his animal with a machshava. He'll think in his head, oh, I'm going to eat it after 3 days. And now the Yisrael is going to have to bring another carbon. And he's going to tell the Jew, he's going to tell Yisrael, oh, by the way, I made a mistake. I made a boo-boo. In my head, I thought you could eat a shlamim for 3 days. I made a mistake, I'm sorry. And because he says I'm sorry and he made a mistake, he doesn't have to pay the Yisrael. And Yisrael has to Nebuch go and buy another carbon. Take the carbon, throw it in the garbage, buy another animal. It's a lot of money. It's not a joke. So we're worried about these. Oh, I remember learning this with you guys. But if you tell him that his hands are tamei, oh, that he's not going to do. To mess up the guy and make him pay $500, that he has no problem. But to say your hands are tamei, he has to go to the mikvah. They're very, very concerned about tumah. The fact we said they killed somebody, but they wouldn't become tamei. And one said he was lazy. Now there's no machloikis here. The Gemara is going to explain. They're lazy. Pashat, there's not enough time. They're not going to want to eat the meat, and they're going to leave it over. So that's the problem. Chadoma kezayis, chadoma kebeitza. We learned this as well. How much of this meat do you need to make your hands tamei? Kezayis or kebeitza? Top of Daf Kufchof Aleph. Chatonia pigul, v'chatonia noisar. So there's no machloikis. One is talking completely about something else, and the other is talking. One is talking about a pigul. Pigul has to do with a kohen being mean to Israel, and the other one noisar has to do with being lazy. Chatonia pigul, mishum chash dekuna, has to do with chosh the kohen for getting back at somebody. Noisar, mishum atz dekuna. He's being lazy. He's not going to eat the carbon in its allotted time. Chadom kezayis, chadom kebeitza. Mandam kezayis ki yisurai. The Isser in all the Torah is a kezayis. Everything is kezayis. Manda omar kebeitza ketumasai. How much tumah do you need in a food object to be matam another food? It has to be a full kebeitza. And here we're talking about food being matam your hands, not the Isser, but the ability to matam something else. So Mela, you need a full kebeitza. That's the machlok. We don't know who said what. One of them, Rav Huna and Rav Chizda, one said something, the other one said the other thing. The official Mishnah, sponsored by Fishel, and the Matriarch of your family should have a refuah shelayma. Beirach birkas haPesach. There's a bracha. Asher kiddush shalom mitzvayis v'tzivanu lechol haPesach. Rabbi, you got to remember this. Repeat it. It's coming up in just a few days. Final daf of Masechtas Pesachim. Final daf. Yossi Shloss, I got your email. I got to read it. Yishkoyach. Your first suyuim. Unbelievable. You should be zoche to be Messiah many more Masechtas with us. Or not with us, but be Messiah shas together. So Beirach birkas haPesach. He made a bracha. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddush shalom mitzvayis lechol haPesach. And he eats the Pesach. Shel zebach. You have other karbanos. You have to bring a shlamim. You have to bring a chagiga. The chagiga of Yudalet to fill up the stomach. So you're eating the Pesach. L'soiva, you have to have another carbon. Now, chagiga. Typically, you would make a different bracha. You'd say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher k'shanim says v'tzivanu, lechol hazevach, on a chagiga. But since you already said lechol haPesach, so this patters this. Beirach is shel zevach, but what if he said Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, lechol hazevach, lepater shel Pesach? That doesn't work for. It's like saying a shahakol on a mezainis. It works, but a mezainis on a candy doesn't work. The buzz of Pesach. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. They're not related. So if you make a bracha on a Pesach, it doesn't work on a Chagiga. And if you make a bracha on a Chagiga, it doesn't work on a Pesach. They're not related. Says the Gemara, if you think about it, you'll figure out the Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel says that Pesach works for everything else, but everything else doesn't work for Pesach. Zrika bechlal shvicha. So, this is what we call shvicha. To pour the blood, the gold vessel, silver vessel, but you're pouring it nicely, gently. You take it and you put it on the wall and you pour it down. This, on the other hand, is what we call zrika. He's standing from a distance and he tosses it. Tosses it at the wall on the mizbeach. So says the Gemara, according to Rabbi Shmuel, that what works for Pesach works for everything else. Now Pesach is pouring. This is pouring. So if I take this, if I do this zrika, remember this is the kapara, so to speak, the final step of the avodah. You take the blood and you pour it on the mizbeach. So if I do this for Karban Chagiga, it works. Just like the bracha of a Karban Pesach works for Chagiga, so the oifen, the way you put the blood on the mizbeach, even though a chagig is supposed to toss it, but if you put it, it's also good. Why? Rashbam says I learned from a pasuk. Taisus says I learned from svara. Tossing is not a great thing. It's putting it on the mizbeach. I don't have a choice. I'm far away. You give it a toss. Now I'm chuyiv to toss it, says Taisus. But the reverse is a problem. If the Torah says I have to put it on nicely, tossing is not good. If I'm going to do it the way you're supposed to do a chagiga, which is to toss it, and I toss the blood of a Karban Pesach from 2 feet away, I toss it onto the wall, I'm not Yotza Karban Pesach. And Rabbi Akiva says that the bracha of a Karban Pesach does not work for a chagiga, and the chagiga doesn't work for a Karban Pesach. It's not going to help me to pour the blood on the mizbeach for a chagiga. And it certainly won't help me to spill the blood, to toss it from a distance for a Karban Pesach. And now we're turning the final time in Mesechus Pesachim. Sponsored by Eli Dykman. Bracha v'atzlacha for all the MDY team in their everyday lives, for all the hard avodas HaKodesh they do. And sponsored for shelayma for all Chol Yisrael, especially for our MDY family. Please consider joining the MDY Tehillim group at tehillim.8mindaf.com. Says the Gemara, and Rabbi Say, being that the suyuim for the B'chairim is in 3 days, on Thursday, so it might be kedai for some of you not to do a complete suyuim. And tomorrow we'll take it up from here, but let's just do a little bit. Rabbi Samloi ikla l'pinyan haben. Samloi went to opinion haben. Bo minei pshito al opinion haben. Asher kisharim says it's al opinion haben. Of course, when you say that bracha al opinion haben, avi haben mevarach, the father has to say. Baruch shechiyaro v'kimano v'kimano azman hazeh. But what about the second bracha? Very similar to our Mishnah. One person makes 2 brachas. He has to make ala Pesach and ala Zevach. One is he might see the other. What about over here? Shechiyanu v'kimanu v'yiran azman hazeh. Kai mevarach. Oy avia ben mevarach. That is the Gemara's question. Who says Shechiyanu? Does the father say Shechiyanu, or does the Kohen say Shechiyanu? Maybe tomorrow we'll explain a little bit better. The Rishonim ask, maybe they should both say a bracha. No, that was partial that there's only one bracha said here, and it's only for the mitzvah, says the Rashba. The Kohen is not making a bracha that he just scored the lottery, he got 5 slime. Because if that was the case, then every Kohen in the world, every time he gets a basket of fruit for Truma, he should make a Shechiyanu. The question is whether the kohen makes the shechiyanu for the whole situation of the pidyon haben. And with that, we will finish today's Gemara. Whoever wants to go could go. Whoever wants to stay around, I have a compiled list here that I heard a shir on Shabbos from Reb Tzvi Zimmerman, associate Rav here in the shul that I davened in Lincolnwood, together with other things that I saw, but mainly I asked him to do me a favor and put it in writing for me, and he did so. He was very kind, and I hope it's a schus for the olam. So, this year we have something very, very unique, which doesn't occur. I don't even know when the last time it happened, maybe 10 years ago or so. That is, Shabbos is Erev Pesach. And people were asking me throughout the Masechta, different halachas. I'm not a Rav. I tell them that, I don't know. But here's some halachas that either you can go by, don't go by. But this is what I think the halacha is. First of all, the Tainis B'chayris this year is on Thursday, not on Friday. The fast is on Thursday. So if somebody's fasting, he fasts on Thursday. So the suyuim has to be on Thursday. That's it. Now, B'dikas Chametz this year is done on Thursday night. Why? Because B'dikas Chametz has to be done at night. When it's dark, you use a candle. We don't use a candle anymore after my father burnt down our house in Flatbush. We use flashlight. So a lot of people like to use flashlight. True story. The virtualizer's house, you'll see. True story. Surely Rothstein is coming tomorrow to the siyum. He'll tell you the story firsthand. Flashlight. But you cannot use a candle nor a flashlight on Friday night. It would be very nice. After the Shabbos meal, you take a candle. Now, why not? It's esed doicha loisas, esed to search for chametz, destroy, search and destroy. Well, you can do it on Thursday, so do it on Thursday. So we do it on Thursday night. That's that. Now, the biur chametz is on Friday. And we do the biur chametz, we destroy the chametz. Besides the chametz that we want to use on Shabbos, we destroy before the time of biur, whenever the time is. So you find out what in your neighbor, whenever it is, call it 10:27 in Chicago. You have to destroy before 10:27 on Friday, even though Friday is not Erev Yontif. By the way, when we do the bdika, we do it with a bracha, even though it's Thursday night. If on a regular year you do a bdika 3 days in advance, you wouldn't make a bracha. You do a bdika without a bracha. Since this is the official bdika, whatever the reason is, we make it with a bracha. Now, what's very interesting this year is that there's no bittul. You're not being mevatel your chametz, and that's very, very important to be mevatel chametz. You're not being mevatel your chametz on Friday. Why? Because you want to leave chametz over for Shabbos for the lechem mishnah, like we're going to discuss. So over here you have to be very careful, because every year we have a signal that tells us, go be mevatel chametz. When? Typically we take the chametz and we toss it into a fire, go to a big bonfire, you make it in your backyard, you toss it, and immediately you open the siddur, kol chamira, v'chamia, deker b'shusi, levatel, rafra, da'ara. But this year we don't have that. We're going to burn the chametz, and we're not going to do bittul. So we must remember to do bittul on Shabbos. When? Before the time of when you're still allowed to eat chametz, which is 10:27 in Chicago, whatever, something like that. Okay. Now, you're allowed to take a haircut. Every Erev Pesach, you're not allowed to take a haircut after Chatzos. So halacha, you're not allowed to shave after Chatzos, Erev Pesach. But since Friday is not Erev Pesach, you're allowed to take a haircut and you're allowed to shave throughout the whole day. Very important. Since Shabbos is Erev Pesach, you should not take a nap saying on Shabbos, I got to take a nap so I could have koyach to be up on the Seder. It's Shabbos. You can't prepare for Yontif. But you're allowed to tell your kids to take a nap for that. And you should not prepare your Seder table on Shabbos. So since we want to be yaitz the whole seva thing with the pillows and this, and we want to set it up correctly, you should probably do so on Friday. It's not a good idea to start playing around with pillows on Shabbos in preparation for the Seder. Now, this is the big halacha. You need to have 3 meals on Shabbos, and they have to have lechem mishnah bread. So the best way to do it, and this is what everybody's saying, is, and all the 2 meals on Shabbos morning have to happen before 10:27 in Chicago. So what do? You have to daven and have 2 meals. So yes, what a lot of people are doing is they're going to daven vasikin really early. And they're going to have a meal. They're going to have kiddush and a wash and have fish and meat and wine. And they're going to bench. They're going to go around the corner. They're going to say dvar halacha. And they're going to wait a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes even. Make a serious break. And then have another meal with challah and everything. And whatever challah you have left over, you flush down the toilet. Now, some people don't want to have challah hanging around on their Seder table. They just cleaned it. There's no vacuum cleaners. There's nothing going on. And you're going to have all the stuff coming into your chairs. And some people are nervous. So those people might want to rely on the Ramosha Feinstein that says that you could eat a matzah ashira, that's an egg matzah, or a fruit juice matzah, which is kosher lePesach, but not kosher for the Seder. The Ramah says you shouldn't do it, but Ramosha Feinstein proves that you could do it. So yeshal milismoich, if you have nervin like that you don't want to eat real challah. So that's the basic idea here. Very interesting. Rabbi Yashiv says that the first meal of the morning should be the small one, and the second meal the large one, which is interesting because usually Shal Shudas is supposed to be smaller than the second meal. The second meal should be the giant one. Shal Shudas is smaller. Now, one very important halacha. Since you're eating the 2 meals before 10:27, and the Shulchan Aruch says that you should eat Shal Shudas after Chatzos, so what do? You just say Shal Shudas before Chatzos. Therefore, what you're supposed to do is eat fruit and meat during the day. After Chatzos, during the Shal Shudas. Now, it's not L'chatchila, because Shal Shudas has to have bread. But you already had bread in the morning as Shal Shudas. So in order to be Yaitze, this Shulchan Aruch, what you're doing is you're eating a lot of fruit and meat. Not that much that's going to fill you up, because again, you want to come to the Seder with an appetite. But enough that it's a nice meal. A Shal Shudas dika meal. Let's see what else. I know it's time to go. And basically, just remember to do your bittul on Shabbos by 10:27 Chicago time. I have no idea what it is in New York, in the rest of the world, but it's very early. So you got to get in your 2 meals. You got to get in a fast Shachris and a fast Musaf and Kriyas HaTorah. And don't forget that bittul. Boisai, have a wonderful day. And Be'ezer Hashem, I'll see you tomorrow live from New York at the siyum. Be'ezer Hashem. And this year, Mashiach is going to be here, so we'll have a few other halachas that I'm going to have to tell you about, the Korban Pesach and how that fits into the whole thing. But anyways, have a great day. I don't know if Noam's on anymore. If not, have a wonderful day. Great day, everybody. Great day. Who's that? Menachem?
Rabbi Stefansky, amazing.
Mark, how did the thing go with how did the Olam like the Itzik Khoury thing?
Eli speak to Fishel about a ticket.
Fishel? Why?
Yeah, he sent a message on the chat.
I have a Southwest ticket, direct flight.
This is a mamish miracle. It doesn't matter what time you start, you always finish at the same time.
Vad, what do you think? It's a decent.
Ellie, I need your information. Could you cover message?
No. I don't want you paying crazy amounts of money. I need to know, where's this ticket? Let me buy it. I want to buy it.
To buy points, 9,000 points, it's going to be worse. Okay, and if you change it every 2 steps, it's much better to do the points.
Rabbi, you gotta be on the land when Israel has a siyum. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know. I forgot to tell Avi Factor that might not happen. I feel bad.
Ellie, check your WhatsApp. I send you a message from Fishel.
Fishel, are you messing with me? Are you playing games? I don't like. I need.
No. I need your name and your birthday privately, so I can figure it out from the cheer from your birthday party. But your name and you have the ticket. If you change your mind,
Hold on a second. But the shaila is this is too late for me. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna. Don't worry about it, Fishel. No, because I have a meeting. I have a meeting, a very important meeting at 6:00. I got to do an interview at 6:00.
okay, so
Shkoyach.
and okay, you have the point after. Very simple.
Okay.
They're not direct. This is a direct flight.
Oh, the other ones are not direct.
No, they have 10 flights that go through Albuquerque, but there's a couple direct flights. Hold on a second. I'll tell you right now. 1 second. I'll open up right here.
Rabbi Yosef came and Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Yosef.
Is it return or the outbound?
No, going. Monday. I have a big meeting Monday.
So I'm going to tell you 1 second. Yeah, there's an early flight that's unavailable.
I saw. No, I also have points. I have points on United. There's a good flight at United direct.
No, it's 3:15.
I'll go to LaGuardia. What am I gonna do? Big deal. No. It's United to it's worse. It's to Newark.
Why do you want to go to Newark? She's like, why Newark? You need Newark. I'm around, by the way. Newark's annoying. He has to go to 5 towns. Newark.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Moti, it's fine. So I'll drive a few minutes more. I deserve it.
You have like Wadi availability, which is not far. Ellie, I have a billion miles in America. So you're going to take an American to LaGuardia?
No, I don't know if anything is available.
Ellie to come here first. Ellie, you want to go to LaGuardia?
First, let's see if there's any availability. Here, Mark. In case you don't believe me, check this out, Mark. Are you able to see this? Look at my flight. It was the first option. It was the first Sunday they gave me, so I figured, it's this Sunday.
Ellie, be careful when you walk up the tarmac, okay? We don't want no presidential falls. Watch out, Trump's scalping.
How does he walk down? Walking up is one thing, but walking down is very dangerous for the guy.
Ellie, I'm confused over here.
This is? You mean the private plane? I thought you were talking about a gvir like me should be on a private plane. It's Aniva's dick. It's Anav, yeah. Hold on a second. Yosef, let's go to work here. Okay, good. Is there any way you can just chuck him off for good, like ban him for life? Oh, here we go.
You can message him while he's in the waiting room. What do you know, Eli Stefansky? I'll never behave. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not in America tonight. I know it's gonna. You sure? Hang in Chicago for a few months while Eli was stuck in Israel. Eli paid off the Israeli government that didn't come back.
You better believe it. Yeshua, I have bad news for you. Yeshua, Yeshua, you're not going to believe this. Nobody's going to believe this. But I want to tell you a secret that I never told anyone. You should know you never had corona. I put you in a hotel for 2 weeks. Stam, for fun. I know people. You think you got a negative, a positive? Shtusim v'havolim. You had corona 6 months ago. Yeshua, one more sentence, you're going back to the hotel for 3 weeks. His ex-wife 3 times, yeah, I know. They caught him.